How you doing? It's the Butcher here, and today I have a video. I've been talking about it for a little while now, but this is going to be my shred build for the Druid for the upcoming Gauntlet. I think this is going to be one of the best builds. Druid's actually in a really fun state right now. There's a ton of really good builds. I made a Tornado Druid. We obviously got Lightning Storm. We have Shred, and then we also have the Boulder build that incorporates Shred. So this build is strictly going to be on Shred, and I'm going to show off kind of two versions of it actually. And then after that, I think I'm going to work on a Boulder Shred build and bring that to you guys too. And I just want to start off, and I'll have this actually linked in the description. This video specifically, the Paragon board, takes a ton of inspiration from Ace of Spades over at Goblin Inc. The Paragon board is very similar to his. I think he made an almost perfect Paragon board, so I want to give him a big shout out. And I did make a couple tweaks. I'll have mine up there, but it is very similar to his, so I want to give him a shout out. Obviously, give him his credit for crafting just a excuse me, a beautiful, beautiful Paragon board. But we'll get to that. So first of all, first thing I want to note is I'm gonna have two versions. So the way that I think I want to run this, and the way I think I'm going to be able to put up the best times, is actually with the uber unique, the Spear of Lycander. However, I know it's an uber unique, so I will be giving alternatives to that. The other way I would suggest running it is using a, I actually experimented using a mace, which I have right here. You can also use an axe. I actually kind of like the mace though, and I'll explain why. But then also a totem as well too. But before we get into that, I just want to say, so this is my preferred version, but I will be showing this version as well too. Maybe not in the gameplay, but just explaining it. So going to the skill tree here, doesn't matter, we're not using a generator up here, just take your 2 points, move down into Shred, and take that into Primal. We're taking all of Predatory Instinct, the movement speed, and Iron Fur. We're taking Earthen Bulwark into the Fortify. We're taking Ancestral Fortitude and Vigilance. We are actually putting 3 points into Nature's Reach here, and that's going to be because of our ring. But if you need points, like we are taking Wolves too, but I don't put any points to it with the Shaco, which is best in slot. But if you need points, this is where I would suggest taking them out from. Because it's not a huge CPS boost, but we have some points left over, so why not? And then we're taking Ravens, we're taking that down into Brutal. We're taking Trample. And you could also take this off if you really want it, but I like keeping the Fortify up personally. So I take the Fortify over here with the Trample. Then the big one down here, we're taking Neurotoxin, we're taking into Toxic Claws, just 1 point each, but Venom is the key here, 3 points into that, and 3 from our Amulet. Petrify, we're taking it into Prime, we don't need this last one here, it's useless. We're taking 3 points into all these shape-shifting things right down here, because we're constantly shape-shifting. We're taking 1 into Defensive Posture, 1 into Thick Hide. You can also do this, honestly, it doesn't matter, but we really just want to get the Unrestrained. So the control pairing effects have a significant amount less duration, which is really nice. And then down here, so for our key passive, I actually put around a bunch of them, specifically Ursinine Strength, which you see I'm using, which I recommend, Bestial Rampage, and Lupine Ferocity. So in order of the ones I like the best, it goes Ursinine Strength, Lupine Ferocity, and then Bestial Rampage. So the problem with Bestial Rampage is you have to be in Werebear form for 2 seconds. And when we use our Trample, we do turn into a Werebear, but we don't try to stay in it very long. So that's my least favorite. Lupine Ferocity is really nice, but it's not as consistent because it's 6 werewolf skills. So it's 2 full casts of Shred with all 3 attacks. And then you get the big bonus. Ursinine Strength, as long as we're healthy, we're just gaining an additional 25% damage. And then an additional 25% increased overpower damage, which is why I kind of liked running with the mace. You actually attack so often, you get a decent amount of overpowers. And getting some more into that was actually kind of nice. But you can also, like I said, use an axe. But that is the skill tree. Then we're going to move over to the gear here quick. We're using rubies in all of our gear. And we're using a Shaco. It's best in slot here. Unfortunately, if you do not have a Shaco, I would rock a regular helmet, and I would rock the do I have it actually right here? I do not, but it's when you're in werebear form, you get 15% damage reduction. It'll make you tankier. It'll basically kind of act like the thing right here, and then the skill right here to get 20% DR. But then I would go for total armor, I would go for cooldown, I would go for life, and then I would go for something like all stats or willpower. It'd be nice on there too. For our chess piece, we're using Mad Wolf's Glee. Really want good movement speed, top priority. Second priority is DR from damaged enemies, or from poison enemies, I should say. Our gloves here, we want willpower, attack speed, crit strike chance, and shred, and we're using storm claws on there to get that lightning AoE damage. Using Tibalt's Will, we're using Flicker Step to constantly reset our Petrify. And then we are using, let me go over to the jewelry first, then I'll explain the weapons just because there's 2 sets. So we're using skulls in all of these, and then on our amulet here, we're going to be using Shepherd, so we gain that additional damage bonus for each active companion. We're going to have 5, so whatever 15 times 5 is, was that 75%, something like that. We're going to be getting a big damage increase by that. We want double armor in here. Movement speed, I have a minimum roll, which sucks, but I got a really good roll in double armor on there. And then super important is the 3 ranks of the Envenom passive. We are using Starless Skies. This is great. It just ups our damage. It's not, 100% necessary. If you don't have Starless Skies, instead I would recommend a ring with crit strike chance, crit strike damage. You don't need lucky hit chance. I would recommend either physical damage or critical strike damage with the werewolf skills, and then I would recommend health or max life on there as well too. And then you can either, if you're using this, you can probably I would suggest putting this right here, the retaliation aspect on that ring. But if you are already using these 2 in a 2-handed setup, then I would recommend using the one to give you 1 extra companion, whatever it's called, but it'll give you an extra wolf and a extra raven, which in turn will give you another 30% multiplicative damage. And then we're using the Inexorable Will ring. First of all, this gives us a huge boost to our willpower, so we do a bunch more damage. We can constantly pull enemies in and just shred them, literally, which is really nice. And then it gives us that nice ultimate skill cooldown reduction, which is really nice, especially when we are not using a totem and not getting that double cooldown right there. But then for our weapons here, we are going to be using Sapphires. It's the best one for us. We're going to be getting crit strike damage to crowd control enemies. Like I said, I think the best times, it's not going to be as consistent. We're going to see when I jump into gameplay. We'll see if I get good shrines, bad shrines, whatever it might be. But I think the best times are going to come from this and just getting some good shrine RNG, artillery shrine, blast wave shrine, all really good. Lethal shrine, really good too. And then what's really nice about this is a couple things. One, the critical strike chance is huge. We want to be critting all the time, so the critical strike chance is super nice. The attack speed is super nice. Damage is, good. It's obviously just, additive damage, so not huge. And then we get a random shrine effect for 20 seconds, but because our shrine duration is boosted within season, we actually get it for the full 30 seconds. Once we kill another elite, we get it again, so we can have like a 100% shrine uptime, which is pretty crazy. So that's what makes it so good, along with the fact that you get 25% increase in movement speed. I don't know if you guys didn't know when you have a shrine. So that helps a lot to make us super fast and hopefully tear through the gauntlet super fast. So I think this is going to be my preferred way to run it. If not though, you can either, like I said, take an axe or a mace. All stats, willpower, crit strike, and then damage to close or core. Either one works. And then you're going to want accelerating on one and retaliation on the other. And as far as your totem, you're going to want willpower, crit strike chance, damage reduction, either all fortified or damage reduction from poison. I personally prefer the fortified because I already have a bunch from a Paragon board from poison enemies and from our chess piece. And then cooldown reduction as well too. So then if we move into our spirit boons here, going to take the reduced damage from elites. We're going to be taking 2 and the D right here. So we're going to be taking more crit strike chance. You can also take health or attack speed, honestly, if you want. These are all good, but you definitely want the Avian Wrath. Over here, we take bolster to keep our fortify up, and then down here, there's not too much good stuff, so we take mass assist in order to get some healing. Even though we get a ton of healing through our shred, what do we heal for 2% of our max life, and we have a ton of willpower, so we're constantly healing. But then the Paragon board, like I said, this will be linked. I'll have my D4 builds for mine, but huge shout out again to Ace of Spades of Goblin Inc. Link will be down in the description if you want to check out his guide. He's a Druid mastermind. But we are using Territorial here. We are using Guzzler here. And then we are going over, we're going over here. And we are taking Outmatch. Get a nice increase to poison enemies and damage reduction for poison enemies, like I was mentioning before. Then we're actually going to take, I believe this is the last board if I remember correctly. Yes, it is. So we're actually going to take, we're going to go up here, next. And over here we are taking Fang and Claw. And then we come down here and we are taking Spirit. And then I actually don't hit this. I would actually probably switch a few things around to get a little bit more dex in order to hit this. But right now I'm missing on 4% health, but I can easily get that by taking some more dex. And then finally we come down here and we grab Werewolf, and we don't, this is one that's typically used on like every werewolf build, but we really just don't need it at all. We have no spirit issues whatsoever. But if you really want, you can take that. Maybe if you don't have Starless Skies, but even without Starless Skies, you should be more than fine on Spirit. But that is the Paragon board. And now let's get into a little bit of gameplay. Alright, and time for the gameplay here. We're in a tier 93. You can see the affixes here. Life's still nothing really crazy. But anyway, we're going to show it off. Like I said, we're going to be using the Spear of Lycander variant of it. I think I've mentioned already, this will be a little more consistent, but I truly think the best times are going to come from the Spear of Lycander with good Shrine RNG. So we'll see what we get here. I kind of just show how the build's played. I always forget to like try to kill everything. Because I think that's what you have to do with the Gauntlet, but I'm not really sure. But you can see we can do that, and then we can evade through enemies and just reset our Petrify really easily. Just super nice. And we got a Lethal Shrine, which is a pretty good one. And you're going to see we're going to have like constant shrine uptime once we get going. This is just shredding through literally everything. We're so fast too once we have these shrine buffs up. And again, my armor is, yeah, it's 11.2. It doesn't really matter. Like, it truly doesn't. Okay, let's come over here. Go like that, evade through them. It's already back to 30 seconds. Evade through again. And we have a channeling shrine, so now it's just up all the time anyway. Just absolutely nuts. Truly. And you can just see how good it is. I don't know why I'm not spamming it since I get it like all the time. And we can just take out everything pretty much with ease. And we're super fast. You can see our shrine buff right down there. And then it'll run out shortly. And once we move into another set of elites here. Now, if the density of elites is really bad, then it could be worse for the Gauntlet, but I doubt that's the case. And I doubt we're going to have to go through portals like that too, which is hurting my shrine uptime. But let's see what we got here. We got another channeling. So again, we can literally just cast Petrify and just like blow things up off screen doing that. It's literally as easy as that. We just evade through like one set of enemies and we're good to go. It's just back up again. This build is also just so much fun to use just because of the pure speed of it. And like I said, the other version is going to be a bit more consistent just because you're not worried about Shrine RNG. And you're a bit more tanky too. But I think just pure upside, it has to be this build's way to go. We got a Protection Shrine, which honestly for speed isn't the best. We rather just get some of the damage ones, but we'll take it. And again, 25% movement speed. You can see, well actually with that we get even more, but in the final room now, so take these out, and then we're eventually going to get another shrine here. And this build, I feel like it's able to take advantage, just like Ball Lightning was last season for the Spear of Lycander so well, because you're able to just move so fast and just go through so many different enemies and just get those shrine effects constantly and be able to utilize the movement speed. And because we shouldn't need absolutely crazy damage, we should be fine with this instead of using some of those offensive aspects like retaliation, whatever it is. I got another protection one. So we got decent, we didn't really get that good of Shrine RNG, but you can see it just devastate everything and how good this build is and how fast it is. Obviously I don't have a timer there or anything like that, but I think you can see the upside of it and why I'm so excited about this build and why I think this version could be really, really good. So that's going to be my Shred video. The next thing I think I'm going to work on is making the Shred Boulder build guide, and I think that one's going to be a lot of fun too. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And if you did enjoy, please be sure to like and subscribe. It means the world to me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.